Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. We're a couple of days out from a new year, 2019. It's certainly something to look forward to. But for many, the government shutdown in America is bringing financial constraint, restriction and indeed distress. Today I want to look at whether or not what's behind Trump's erratic, I guess, desperate behaviour. Is he going to try and cut a plea deal with the Republicans and Democrats in relation to the Mueller investigation? And will he's now threatening to shut down the southern border? Will that sort of behaviour have an impact on the economy, the American economy, which indeed will flow through to world markets as well and world economies? Now, we know that he wants $5 billion for his border wall. We know the Democrats are going to be holding out. We know the Republicans have gone home and, are not really prepared at this point in time to do anything about Donald Trump. We know his financial cabinet minister, Steve Mnuchin, rang the banks to see if they had enough cash on hand. I mean, if anything would spook a market, it would be that. We also know the farmers who were given compensation for, who were hurt in the implementation of the tariffs, which I don't appear to see any hurt coming from China. I guess China's economy is, they would be absorbing it. But of course, the US economy, those tariffs because of the government shutdown, the compensation package that's not getting through to the farmers. So I know that everyone's worried about him. I mean, every day you think he's going to be removed from office because of the insanity, and every day he's still there. Well, ask first up, is he trying to, through this desperate behaviour, threatening to shut down the southern border, for example, and damage the trade and further damage market confidence? What is Trump trying to do with this erratic behaviour? Is it a form of blackmail in relation to the Mueller investigation? Is Trump's erratic behaviour a form of blackmail in relation to the Mueller investigation? Does he want a plea deal? Is that what all this is about? Does Trump want a plea deal, some sort of immunity from prosecution? Erratic behaviour, plea deal, I'll go if you give me immunity. Is that what's at the back of this behaviour? All right, so straight up we've got the Eight of Pentacles, which of course is preparing for a harvest. So this is telling me that he's also trying to engineer things in his favour. So it isn't just one reason that he's doing this, it's multiple. So he really is concerned about his base. He's really concerned about the impressions that his base have of him. He's concerned about what they think of him. He wants to show strength so that they won't desert him. It is, I guess, what it is. It is what it appears to be. It is the desperate behaviour of a president who knows that his presidency is doomed. So I'm looking for something, for reasons other than that. I mean, that's a pretty obvious reason, but at this stage, this card is telling me he's more concerned about perceptions of him and with his base. He's trying to keep his base happy. Foolish person. Okay, now we've got the world here, the endings and the beginnings, and this goes to to what I said earlier, that Trump knows that his time is coming to an end, and he also knows the eyes of the world are upon him. He wants to leave some kind of impression behind, if you like, of someone who stood up for things, who didn't kowtow to the Democrats, who did something strong in relation to immigration. He will do. It's his ego, viewers, is what I'm trying to say. It's his ego that is fueling his erratic and desperate behaviour, in that he wants to leave this kind of, I would call it grotesque, in inverted commas, a grotesque legacy. He's trying to leave some sort of legacy. So he's testing, what that amounts to is he's testing the bounds of the presidency. And he's probably willing at this point to go as far as he can go, as far as he needs to go. So this is someone who is hell-bent. I think that's a good definition of the word hell-bent. He is hell-bent on sticking to his guns and leaving some kind of legacy in his mind that amounts to strength. And it is all about keeping his base happy, because his base are feeding his ego. So this is what I'm seeing at the moment. The other aspect of this, viewers, this is definitely the card of trying to leave behind a legacy. And the World card, beyond its beginnings, its endings and beginnings, meaning, could also be referring to the agendas that he has with other countries. So I have been asked in my comments section of my channel, is Trump deliberately trying to destroy the American economy? Now, when I first saw that question, I thought, no, surely not. That couldn't be possible. But we'll just keep going with this reading. I'm not saying he's trying to destroy the American economy. The initial impression that I got was that he's doing all of this. This is an ego-based, petulant, childish, destructive, erratic behaviour fueled by his ego and his narcissism. That's the focus of this reading. But I just thought I'd bring in that open door there for us to consider. Now, we've got the High Priestess again. This is, what is in the subconscious? What is subconsciously motivating Donald Trump? What is subconsciously motivating this behaviour? And we know that, we're looking for this ego narcissism aspect of this reading. The other aspect to the High Priestess is secrets. So when things are kept hidden. I would also expect to see the moon in this reading, which of course can be treachery as well. But the High Priestess can come forward when we haven't actually verbalized. We're actually trying to hide something. So there are two aspects to that card. Which aspect applies to Donald Trump, or does both of them apply to him? Now, in terms of him trying to leave behind this warped kind of legacy, if you like, go down in the history books as someone who was strong and stood up for what needed to be stood up for, the change maker, this narcissistic, chaotic element of his personality that we already know about. We've got the Knight of Swords, which is indicating something's going to be coming forward and changing fairly quickly, because this is an action card, and it's around change and action coming forward fairly quickly, fairly fast. Okay, it can also be a soldier coming forward. Now, what does that mean? Is that we've got the Democrats taking over the House in a few days. Let's have a look at what that might mean. Is he going to take less money? Is he going to take a deal? What is that? In relation to his border wall, I'm talking about. Now, the world, proposals and messengers, communications, partnerships. It's starting to look like he's continually he could be in communication with others regarding his decisions that he takes as president, and those others may well be overseas countries. But this can also mean proposals. We ask the question, is he trying to get a plea deal? And this could be indicating that as well. the secrets and the circles of support. So this is indicating that he's not acting alone in all of this. There are hidden forces which we cannot see that have a bearing on these erratic decisions that he is taking. This change that's coming forward, and we've got the Hierophant, which is the Mueller investigation, and the courts. So his grotesque or warped legacy that he's trying to leave, which indeed the decisions could be taken with communication with others, potentially overseas countries. We also asked about a plea deal. So all these things are suggested in this reading, because the Hierophant would indicate the traditional institutions, the law, Congress, the courts, even the Constitution, and making Donald Trump fit within those. So he's not going to be allowed to go rogue, if you can see what I mean. But all these things that we asked about that are alluded in this reading are all being suggested here, which is quite strange, because usually I would see we asked about a plea deal, but we're also getting his body of work there as well. We're also getting the World card, which can suggest the endings of his presidency, new beginnings, can suggest that plea deal. But we've also got the High Priestess, which is this secretive aspect and potentially communications with overseas countries. Again, we've got the communication card here. This is the messages, the oral communication. It can be written oral communication. He's definitely communicating with others. And it could be around proposals. And look, I'm not surprised to see such a complex reading coming forward, because as we know, if we know one thing about Donald Trump's presidency, we know all the things that we've suggested here are entirely possible. So this card is suggesting that there are communications going on potentially with overseas parties. There could potentially be proposals being put to Donald Trump by the Republicans and indeed possibly the Democrats, or about to be, which actually mean that, he may very well take a plea deal in the future. Things are remaining hidden. The clear answers to these are remaining hidden from me at this point in time, because they're hidden from others. They're hidden from plain view is the word that I'm getting. And this is Mueller. Okay, so this card is categorically saying that he is hoping that there will be, if things come to the worst, that there will be a plea deal for him, whether that's for immunity or, whether it's for his children's immunity. That's, questions we would need to ask separate to this reading. But I think in relation to the question that I asked, there is an indication that Donald Trump is trying to save his own neck from the Mueller investigation and those of the Trump fortune as well. There's also indicating communication going potentially with overseas countries, potentially could be with Russia. Things are very secret, are being conducted behind a veil. He is trying to hide things. There's also an element of narcissism coming through here as well, which was my overriding impression at the beginning of the reading, that he's trying to leave some sort of legacy in his mind, to be a legend in his own lunchtime, is a saying we have here in Australia. There is this narcissistic impulse that's driving him as well, because remember him on The Apprentice, he understands the eyes of the world are on him. So all of these things are being revealed in this reading, but there is one salient thing that jumps out, which is beyond what Donald Trump is trying to do, and this is Mueller's coming for him. Mueller, the Democrats, both. The institutions are coming for him, the law institutions, the Congress, the House, Mueller, because Mueller is presenting here very strongly at the end of this reading. So that's, it's, I guess, all of those reasons as to why he might be doing this is indicative that he should be taken out, and he should be taken out quickly. I wonder if they're aware of that. I wonder if there are moves afoot to take Donald Trump out quickly. Let's ask that, because I think he's just going to hold on and he's going to be doing more of this. Excuse me while I just have a sip of my water. Okay. The question that everybody wants to know, or wants answered, are they going to take him out quickly? Are they going to, are the Republicans, the Democrats, Mueller, 25th Amendment, is Donald Trump going to be removed from office in the new year? Donald Trump going to be removed from office in the new year? That's wishful thinking, I think, but we'll ask the question, is he going to be removed from office in the new year? Donald Trump going to be removed from office in the new year? Yeah. I am getting that there are discussions behind closed doors about trying to get him out. Yeah, okay, so this is Donald Trump at the moment, and again, that could be accounting for his erratic behaviour, the Five of Swords, okay, so this is isolation and betrayal. It's abusive relationships as well. So it's also violence. So it wouldn't be. I'll go out on a limb here, and I would say that that there's fairly strong talk about removing Donald Trump in one way or another. Okay. But he still has these deals with people. He still has the support. This is the Lover's card. It's not his time, I don't think, to go yet. We asked the new year, January, February. My feeling was always he would go June, July, that it'll be a bit drawn out. And the Queen of Chalices, or the Queen of Cups, this card's coming up in... I watch other tarot readers. Obviously, I love tarot. And it's been coming up in other people's readings as well. Now, let's have a good look at this Queen of Cups. Okay, so the Queens are stability. And the Queen, this necessarily may well be a woman. A nurturing, healing, supportive woman. It's help when you need it most. Now, I'm going to go to those sealed indictments in the DC court and the female judge that's presiding over those sealed indictments. I think you're going to see indictments in January. That's what everybody's been waiting for. Okay. And then you'll see some new starts coming here. Okay, so there is loss to the economy. I'll close off the reading with one last question about, is his behaviour damaging the economy? Because we know it is. But this is Donald Trump. They're trying to get rid of him, and it is the courts, and it is Mueller, it is the lawmakers, potentially, a lot of Republicans as well. They want him gone, but they're waiting for Mueller to do that. Now, this is the new starts coming through here. So we're going to be seeing these indictments, which is in line with my earlier reading. When people say when, I would say, look, if you're that, you probably need to go and consult a crystal ball. But I've done a 6-month timeline, and it showed indictments coming down in January. I think this is the female judge in the DC circuit that has those sealed indictments there. I think those indictments are going to be unsealed in January. And then it will be the beginning of the end for Donald Trump. So the Seven of Pentacles, these deals, you know, he still has the support of enough people. The Seven of Pentacles is coming forward when there's issues and commitment problems. Okay, so this is suggesting that his partnerships will start to leave him once those indictments come down. A good deal of his support already has left him. Otherwise, we wouldn't be pulling this card. But this is suggesting that which is left is actually going to be suddenly find themselves uncommitted to Donald Trump's presidency, because this is going to allow the start of something new. And this is if my feeling is correct, that this Queen of Cups is this female judge in the DC circuit. This potentially is what is going to be happening with those that are going to be indicted. And I think indeed with Donald Trump and those that are leaving a sinking ship, this is them. Okay, it's the battle-weary card. The reason that there's going to be new starts, I wish I could be more altruistic and say everyone perceives Donald Trump as wrong, but it's going to be around the economy that's going to drive this kind of quickened behaviour. There are serious fears for the US economy amongst those institutions that matter, because they're wanting to see balance. They're seeing things are out of balance, and they're seeing that when things are out of balance, the scales can fall and you can lose things. So they're trying to, by making those moves to get rid of Donald Trump, they're trying to restore the balance, keep the scales even. And with Donald Trump and these sealed indictments that potentially might come forward in January, if my feelings are on target or on point, this is what we're likely to see happen to Trump and to potentially to the Trump campaign, those involved with Trump, including his children. We've got the Hangman. Now, the Hangman's rarely a good card. It's like stringing someone up by their heels. It's suspension. It's sacrifice in terms of something that is sacrificed for the greater good. So I think this is my feeling is that the next move will be indictments that in January, which are going to be the start of getting Donald Trump out of office. Now, the last part to this reading is Donald Trump's increasingly desperate, erratic behaviour, including the tariffs, including the threats to shut down the southern border. Are they impacting on the economy? We've seen signs there. We've heard the warnings. We know the volatility of the stock market. We know the compensation packages that have been needed to the farmers, which have flow-on effects to small business and then families in the suburbs, Is Donald Trump's erraticness, his policies and his erratic, desperate behaviour damaging the economy? Yeah, okay. So again, this came forward in the last reading. He is sacrificing the stability of America in pursuit of his own aims. And look, he is going to be. It's come to the notice, if you like, of more even more powerful forces within America than the presidency. But this is also Donald Trump too. We asked if it was damaging the economy. We've got the Emperor sacrificing the economy here for his own gains. But we've got justice coming in. Remember, I saw the judge in the DC Circuit Court who's in charge of those sealed indictments we've got her coming forward. So this is potentially what is going to remove. So this is validation. Sometimes this is the way these beautiful cards work. They work as validation. So Donald Trump, again, is going to be sacrificed and bound up and stopped. But in this reading, he is sacrificing the American economy for his own aims. And we've even got the eagle here on the Emperor's shield. I would say again how anyone could have gotten into that position like Donald Trump. But anyway, that's ancient history. We've got justice coming down here. There is a divine aspect to justice. This is a karmic story that is unfolding. And, we've got loss. We've got the loss that he is causing to the economy. So this is a very real loss to people. We forget who his actions are hurting, but they're actually hurting real people and they're causing financial distress. Okay, that's coming forward really strongly in these cards. Okay, we've got the Two of Cups mirroring the Emperor card. Now, the Two of Cups it is about partnerships. So we've got it mirroring the loss card, partnerships. So we've got loss and the partnerships here. I think it's going to be hurting businesses. That's my feeling with this card. It's actually going to be hurting small businesses. And also the families. We're looking at imprisonment here and restrictions. So again, this is indicating the economy will constrict. However, there is this justice above it. Which is indicating that the courts are going to remove this president. In the end, the Mueller investigation is going to remove this president. So talking about the economy here and the loss, and again, the relationships between, I think this is the relationships between financial institutions, potentially. So those that have borrowed money, that's where it may be impacting. We're looking at these partnerships here, and our question was in relation to the economy. So the economy is potentially, this reading is saying, is going to constrict as a result of his actions. There is going to be loss, and it's going to be financial loss. But there's also loss around partnerships here as well. And I see partnerships in relation to the business partnerships, to those partnerships between a bank and a borrower. And, the Three of Wands. Okay, so this is like commerce and expansion. So we asked if this was going to hurt the economy, and indeed it is. This is what this card is telling me. And the Five of Cups, again, another loss card. Okay, that is, the Five of Cups comes forward as, I'm afraid, poverty. So there is a constriction of the economy as a result of Donald Trump's actions. It's likely to impact on businesses and those who have relationships, who are borrowing and lending. It's actually going to also have an impact globally, because the other aspect of this card here is sort of overseas aspects as well. So there's going to be an impact on world markets as well. However, and a constriction of the economy, potentially loss of money. But what is sitting above all of this is the Justice card. So it is a worrying time, it really is, for everyone. But it appears that there's going to be some justice in relation to this that will minimise or mitigate the damage that is going to be done. And indeed, Donald Trump's presidency is going to be suspended in some way. Now, in our previous readings, we have the emergence of the Queen of Cups, which I feel, as I said, it is indicating that these indictments will come down in January. What's going to happen by February? Potentially some impeachment moves. Okay, that's the reading. There's a lot in this. I hope that you enjoyed it. Some worrying trends here. I think it's sort of going to get worse before it's going to get better. But I feel that we're on the home stretch now, and I think you'll see action coming forward in January, which is what we've all been expecting. It's what we've all been reading about, and I see further indications in these cards that this indeed is what's going to happen. So it's not over yet, but we're likely to see in the new year, in January, we're likely to see some more movement, which will provide further impetus for the end of Donald Trump's presidency. All right, thank you, viewers, for tuning in.